Good time of day, everyone. So, this is going to be going over a solo RPG system I got recently. It's like just adjusting my end. There we go. So, I've always kind of been interested in how a solo RPG would do a mystery, and well, this one came out. Let's get into it. Hello. Just because the board. Oh, wait, I didn't change this. Oh, let's change this real quick. Now, I have seen Mythic attempt to make one where it basically strings together a bunch of mouth isn't captured as right. 1 second. Where it tries to string together a bunch of components that lead to the mystery. I don't know if this one is similar, but Mythic was very detailed and procedural in how it does it. One, two. Okay, that's good enough. Let's work with that. Wow. This one I haven't looked into too much, but it is a self-contained system and not like Mythic RPGs things where it just bolts itself onto any system you want. For good or ill, I honestly consider it a boon. This one uses a deck of cards and some dice. Now then, let me... Excuse me 1 second. Sorry about that. Anyways, so as I was saying, this uses a deck of cards, some dice, that's all I know. I've poked at it slightly, but we'll be going through it all. And I'll be just as blind as what's going on in here as you. I know there's actual stats in there, so I need a sheet to keep track of something. Anyway, let's crack this open. This is Caught in the Rain, a solo RPG system, or game by Nicholas Robinia, and I cannot find, because on their Kickstarter they called it, they were something else. I just can't find what it was, like Raven Press or something, but it's not attached to anything on here, which is a little weird. They have the insignia and all that, but anyways, ba ba ba. Yeah, I'm just paging through to make sure. Okay. Might as well start a little bit with the introduction. I won't read everything in there because, well, don't need to, but Caught in the Rain is a one-player, card-based role-playing game about mysteries. It uses a deck of cards to represent the different clues your investigator uncovers in play, while dice are rolled to add twist to their actions and in a tense mystery narrative. So, about what I would expect. Overview. During play, you will create an investigator determined to discover the truth behind a single mystery, and you will take on the role of this investigator as you describe scenes, ask questions, and find out the answers by rolling dice for inspiration from tables full of prompts. As the investigator, you will need to guess the truth before the growing consequences of your actions force you to give up on the investigation altogether. So I will say that's good that it actually has a fail state, assuming that this isn't just fluff. Like, technically, a lot of solo games allow you to, well, you can always fake it, but unless they are like the meat grinders, like a Torch in the Dark or that sort of ilk, they aren't usually set up to be like, yeah, you could completely fail this. Like, even Mythic, well, it technically allows for it, all its plot points are always eventually getting to it. But, like, technically you could say you get to it, it's like, oh, it's completely different. Like, there's a twist or there's an interruption or, like, other things. But, because they do have stop threads, which is, like, the plot points. They, like, move away from the thread, and the thread could be like, oh, yeah, the person you're looking for just showed up dead. Technically, they do, but you can always interpret it as something else. Something that's a little harder, and, like, as I said, when it's not a meat grinder, is quite welcome. You'll play through a series of different scenes, choosing from the various types of scenes, each with their own instructions and goals. Investigation scenes. The main types of scenes involve... The investigation scenes. The main types of scenes involve looking for clues and rolling dice to determine the success of your search, and whether you attract consequences. When you have gathered enough clues or run out of time, you can try to guess the truth. This ends the mystery, and the better you guess, the closer your investigation will be to the truth. Okay, so time thing, pass, fail at the end. Alright, enough. Now this part goes into, like, you can technically do this with a bunch of genres. The book is, like, very much, actually, let me put a card here for a second. I'll paste in what was on the Kickstarter for the book cover. Because I think that should still match up. Apologies, my nose is completely stuffed. Room. Get into campaign. Do you have a big image of what your book is? Because you do show it kind of small in the rewards. Ah, here we go. So this is pretty close to the final mock-up. I don't know if there's been any changes, but it wants to go very much in the Nord direction. But you could, run it as sci-fi Blade Runner, fantasy investigator, Sherlock Holmes if you wanted, I guess. If you want to go there, but it's called Caught in the Rain. It kind of shows what it has on the sleeve. I haven't looked at the tables. I know that they use a 2d6 system, i.e. 36 possibilities. But beyond that, I don't know if the genre tables are... Yeah, they're sci-fi obligations, sci-fi threats. I flipped to the back. Horror threats, so Call of Cthulhu. But honestly, the engine is generic enough that it works for all of them, but I assume it fits more into standard Nor. Okay, book structure. How to roll 2 dice, the d6. Okay, game setup. To play the game, you'll need a standard deck of playing cards, and because I am very terrible with my money, I have their own deck of playing cards, which I will slightly shill in saying that they actually are pretty interesting. I assume this comes up in, like, how the game works, but the flip side, the face, I guess it would be the face side of the cards, not the backs, the front. Okay, the front side of the cards. They trim the outside with the color the card is. They put what has been called spark words, which is just throw random words across everything that's within theme. And when you see the one that actually interests you, use that in the scene. It gives dice, actually, on them, and has the standard yes, yes, and no, no, but, sort of like oracle questions on there, as well as some names, which is always good. I will always say that any sort of solo system needs a table of generic names. I came across this in like Corp.org where I kind of like asked like, "Hey, can you slip in like a table of generic names?" Like, nah, that doesn't seem interesting. But it sucks to have to go and find your other books and pull them out for a standard generic name. Like even a table of just like 20 would get me by in a pinch. I mean, if I was doing something longer, I'd want the 3D100 my modern books have. But names are always good. It also has a symbol on there just in case, but yeah. I find it interesting that it actually has... could a deck of cards actually take up the proper probability space of 2d6? Well, that's 36 possibilities. I'm not entirely certain. I'm not even certain if it properly modules into that. Anyways, I'll leave that to another day. Anyways, so here we go to start up the game. Separate the deck of playing cards into two decks. The Truth deck, containing all face cards, Jack, Queen, King, we aren't including Ace, and the Clue deck, which includes everything and the two Jokers. So let me split up these decks. I will say that there's nothing different about how the face cards look. I would think they'd put a little more emphasis on them, but they made them the same so that they can be used as oracles. Which, I guess, is good in its own right. I'd rather, you know, have just a bit more on them if you're going to actually use them in game. I'm going to do a terrible shuffle, because I always do. The Clue deck, which is aces and everything. Basically, it's the abandoned deck from Balatro, except it has, you know, two Jokers in it. My favorite deck. I can't win with it, though. Okay. Shuffle up the other deck of cards. Shuffle both decks separately and place them face down to play. Leave space for discard piles next to each deck. Draw 3 cards from the Truth deck. Without looking at them, and set them aside face down. And the Truth deck is our face card deck. Okay, 1, 2... Actually, let me split shuffle this so that the clumps I made are slightly apart. Put that together, give it half a shuffle. 1, 2, 3. Okay, we got 3 cards over there. Create an investigator. Okay. On to the actual fun stuff. Okay, so there seems to be... Here's the parts of investigator. Attributes of fatigue track. Keywords, trait, and obligations. But I have to see what those are. Attributes you can kind of understand. So let's actually... Let me take my bookmark. What did I use for this? I forgot the font I used. Use Broadway, but that's a little much. Well, my standard is using Impact, but... Let's go a few. So for... let's get this up to an actual visible standard. 36 should do. Name. That'll work. That'll be fine. Name. Attributes. And there are 3 attributes here. I know they don't actually set them up here. Power, insight, and method, which basically is, you know, strength, intelligence, and a cunning wits sort of thing. So I'll just put these here. Power. I just set them. Insight. And method. At some point I'll put like actually a little character portrait over here, so... My favorite trick. Retract by 2. Awesome. Okay. Fatigue track. Over the course of a mystery, your investigator will gain fatigue. This is represented by 5 box track. Each time you gain fatigue, mark the leftmost box. Whenever all boxes are marked, your most proficient attribute or available attribute is no longer usable until you rest. So you lose your best attribute. Okay. I'm just going to put in fatigue and foo out of 5. Unless it starts saying, like, oh, when you check off this one. But it's all translatable between 0 and 5. Signature keyword. Keywords are words or phrases gained and used throughout play. They represent events, items, factions, or critical insights related to the mystery. Each keyword can be used once for a benefit, representing how your investigator might leverage connections to a faction, gain insight from an item, or recall important details about relevant events. Your investigator's signature keyword is just like any other keyword, except you can use it multiple times. Your signature keyword represents something with a special meaning to your investigator, like their trusty revolver or a photo of a loved one. Okay. Or in case of the shadow, nose is the signature keyword, I guess. We'll get to that in a minute. I think it can actually roll. An obligation is a commitment your investigator has aside from solving a mystery. It may be that they have a day job they must attend, or that they require peaceful time to themselves. Use obligations to help define your investigator as a person by exploring whether these things are important to them. If neglected, obligations increase your investigator's fatigue, which can make it more difficult to uncover the truth of the mystery. And I'm just going to roll in the back if they actually have them for like standard Norse stuff. Trait. A trait is the description that details... A trait is a descriptive detail that helps your investigator stand out as a character, like a tendency to take risks or coldly pragmatic. When deciding whether your investigator does next or they might respond to a situation, look to their trait for inspiration. This seems more of a fluff one in that there is no actual... How should I put it? This is something you should be following if you're role-playing the character correctly. I guess it's put there more for as a reminder than an actual, like, obligation is also in the same thing, but you have to abide by it. Signature keyword seems more like the loose sort of background traits that a lot of RPGs are now having. Or technically old RPGs too. Like in old D&D, there were backgrounds. And to an extent, they were meant to allow you to like hand wave how you would know stuff or how you... and so on. Okay, so we have keywords. Oh, okay, we're going to also need to make that. And this is just something I saw on the back. Clock. This is looking like a standard... What was it? I forget the name. I backed their second edition for... I am braining hard. I'm actually going to pull this up. Apocalypse Engine, that's what it is. Apocalypse Engine really popularized the idea of having a clock to move things along. Like, it doesn't have to be real world. It technically could. But, like, you do a thing. I check off the clock because some time has passed. When the clock hits 0, something happens. And there's various different amounts of clocks. But I noticed that when looking at the back to see how they laid it out. Okay. So they do have things in the back. There are obligations. Okay. Attributes is 2, 1, and 0. So I'm going to take a look at what obligations are and see just where I'm getting to with this. Obligation is chapter 4. That's chapter 2. There we go. No, that's an obligation scene. Let me go to the actual index to find where chapter 4 begins, because it doesn't have it marked at the top of the pages. Always good to have that. Okay, NOR tables. Oh, it's just telling me to go to NOR tables. Okay. 61. Treacheries. First name, last name. Let's roll there while we're here. Where'd my card go? Ah, there, it's back there. Oh no. One second. I must manage my piles of cards. Putting it in the felt thing that I'm moving around is not working out great for keeping them separate. Index RPG also had a really interesting idea on streamlining some things where Index RPG is its own kettle of fish, but instead of having like everything have like different DCs, it was all player facing. So it's like, this is a TN14 scene. So while there might be like some quick enemy that's harder to hit or something that's slightly more difficult, which is like, you know, increments of 2 or decreases by 2, the players knew how stressed they should be at the scene. Because like literally everything was at DC. Anyways, let's roll the dice. I got myself my metal ones. Let's see if you can hear them. First name is Lorenzo. Lorenzo Cromwell. Okay. Now let's move on to the other things. Name, prefixes, suffixes, traits. Yep, let's go with that. What is our main trait? 22. Missing limb. Interesting. Okay, let's go into the NOR obligation and keywords. So what is our signature keyword? 46. Backdoor. And our obligation. 63. Win a legal battle. So, let's see. Limb. I'm going to go with a leg. Because that has some... Yeah, well, actually, let's go 50-50. Even leg, odd arm. Arm. Okay, we're going with the hefty one. So, backdoor. I'm going to say he's very good at the robberies, so let's go with 3. Or no, that's supposed to be 2. 2. I'm going to give him an insight of 1. And a power of 0, because he's a little unprepared for anything involving power. Now, we have that. Let's think for a second. So backdoor, I'm going to say he's very proficient at breaking an entry. Win a legal battle. I'm going to say that this is a wrongful death. And let's go a little more deep into that. Car accident. That's how he's lost his limb. So in the past, he got into a high-speed chase. He's a private detective. He got into a chase because it was a it was a missing person. He got all the clues. He found out who abducted her, and then they started taking off. The police wouldn't catch up to him, so he started a chase with them to at least follow them to their location. And through whatever accident, like they swerved, he couldn't stop in time, they collided, and he lost his arm in that. So he's in a legal battle because she died in that accident. He was maimed and all that. Like, he didn't even know she was in the car. We could even say she was in the trunk. And yeah. So he's in that legal battle. Could possibly even be out on bail, and he has to show up and do a few other things. But yes, that is his current obligation. Okay, let's jump back. Oh yeah, this has bookmarks. The ribbon bookmarks. The best thing to come into RPGs in a while. Especially when they have more than one. So I will put those at the top. I'll use the red one as where I currently am, and one for where I'm jumping to and from. So we have all this. The next part is creating the mystery. The truth of the matter has been hidden, intentionally or not. And the world has been left anxious, curious about what happened. Mysteries Caught in the Rain are comprised of problems and clues you uncover. The truths you establish, and the escalating threats. Your investigator must manage these dangers while piecing together clues to solve the mystery. The problem. Follow the instruction page. You will begin by creating a problem. The problem describes the point that your investigator becomes aware of the mystery. It also defines important elements in the mystery. The location is started, an object of significance, and the treachery befell the object. The objects are someone or something. Locations are a place, and treacheries are always something bad that happens. When it's time to resolve the mystery, you will answer a series of questions that relate to these elements. A problem is written in the following format. It happened at the location. There was the object, treachery. I'm going to put a bookmark here because I'm going to jump back to this shortly, but to seek the truth is to face dangers. An investigator always needs a motivation for uncovering the truth of a mystery. Without a motivation, why else would they throw themselves into danger to learn the truth? You will use this motivation to inspire what your investigator will do in any given scene. Clues are items, whispered words, observations, or anything else that helps your investigator make sense of the mystery. You will draw cards from the clue deck, which is the non-face cards, I guess you would call it. As you play, using these cards to represent the clues your investigator covers in a pursuit of the truth. These clues will help investigators further scenes and eventually help you resolve the mystery. Truths over the course of the game, you will Confirm your suspicions and connect your clues to the mystery by establishing clues as truths, which is the face card deck. This will help you. This will help you through the process of elimination, improve your chances of correctly solving the mystery, and also prevents your clue sets from becoming false leads when you draw jokers. Okay. I've seen this before in other card-based ones. I don't think I've done anything like of the... Have I? I'm just thinking. There was this one Necromancer game that I've seen played. I don't actually have it. There's also... I can't remember it. Anyways, but those games usually work on... You're required to find, like, the aces or something. But jokers will, like, remove aces you have from players of that note. Or, like, other setbacks, as you would expect. So, that's alive here. Danger. Danger is a value that represents how much attention your investigation is drawing from their enemies. The higher the number, the more likely your investigator is to face dire circumstances. It begins at 0 and fluctuates throughout the game. Threats. Anytime your investigator tries to uncover a clue, they risk introducing a threat to the scene if the danger value is too high. A threat can be anything from a landslide to a person with a gun. They bring greater consequences to the actions your investigator takes in the fiction and makes discovering clues more dangerous. So, what can kill you? Alright, hold on a second. Bookmark, move here. Let me make a new thing. That might be a little too small. How big is this? 1,000 by 1,000. Okay, that's good. No, we want white or black. Okay, there. So we have... It happened at the... And then after that is going to be what we roll. That's where the object, and then followed by what happened. And over here we have the motivation. Actually, down here, I'm going to split these into 2 lines so I can keep them separate. Motivation. And then we're going to have a danger level. Okay, there's a few other ones on here where the investigation has infiltration, discovery, accusation, and escape. So I'm going to put these in here as well. Investigation. Infiltration. I don't know what they mean yet, but we'll find out. Discovery. Helps if I spell right. Acquisition. And escape. Then down here we have clues. Threats and rivals. I'm guessing rival might actually, be an optional rule. Anyways, create the problem by randomly determining. Page 61 it says. I think this is just the random tables. Yes, they are. Do we have an objects table? That'd be nice. We have motivation. Oh, yeah, nor location, nor object, nor clues. So let's start there, because that makes more sense. 16, which is church. It happened at a church. And the object is a drug was that's where drug. Ooh. And what's the treachery? That's where the drug was exposed. So a drug deal went down at a church? Oh, scandalous. Is the church in on it? Actually has happened more than once. Okay. Side the motivation, which is page 30 or 68. There we go. The motivation is desperation. Let me take a look. So desperation for us or someone else. Probably us. So, okay. Just out a little bit. Lorenzo is desperate for money because of his ongoing legal battle. And somebody from the church came to him because they had discovered that there were drugs at the church. And they don't know if it's somebody was stashing them there or they're being distributed there. And he wants Lorenzo to go out and look for this. Lorenzo is going to take this case because it's going to give him some money. And he needs the money. He needs to pay his rent. Because if he can't pay his rent, he can't pay his lawyer either. Okay, clues. Without clues, you'll be hard-pressed to discover the truth of the mystery. Clues can be anything your investigator finds that helps make sense of what is happening. Each clue is represented by a card from rank Ace to 10 and a description of the clue. These are both recorded on the mystery sheet. As your investigator learns more, you will uncover new clues and add more details to existing clue descriptions. They always do. Clues help your investigator make sense of the mystery. When you gain clue from rolling particularly well for your investigation to do something, or your investigator makes progress in certain scenes, they will establish a clue or strengthen an existing one, depending on the card you draw. I'm just going to read over this real quickly. Establishing clues as strengthening ones. I won't read it out loud. Basically, you create them. You look at the clue set by placing cards face up in play area. Clue descriptions will be written as a singular word or short phrase. Creating clues use random tables. Existing clues might theme this new clue. For example, oracle word strengthen high You draw a card of the rank that you have already drawn. Okay, so it's going off rank and not set. Your investigator learns more about the clue. Add that card to the clue set of the same rank and expand the clue. So that's basically just to work with doubles. Example of modified description is that you started with a van, a green van. They use the same. One of the doors is taped shut is an expansion of that. Jokers. This is going to be the interesting part. Jokers add twists and turns to your mystery. Once used, the joker is removed from the game so they can only impact you twice. Whenever a joker is drawn from the clue deck, even when instructed to discard a card, Choose a clue set that has not been established as a truth and make it false. Lead. Then discard the joker and the cards in the clue set. Draw a new card. So, okay. Let me just look back, because I don't think it actually said about establishing truths, or I read over. Yeah, it's just establishing clues and not saying they're truths. False leads. In fiction, a false lead turns out to be too circumstantial, was interpreted incorrectly, or is otherwise unrelated to mystery. A clue set that becomes a false lead has all cards in the set discarded, which prevents it from from being established as truth. Any future cards drawn from the clue deck that share a rank with the false lead are immediately discarded, and you do not draw a replacement card. Narrate how your investigator discovers the lead is false. What happens when there is no clue sets? New clue sets can be, if no clue sets can become a false lead, you instead double your current danger. Interesting. How to play. Caught in the... Every new mystery starts with an investigation scene. During play, you will be instructed to mark different elements of your investigator's sheet. This is how you track resources. To mark the element, you simply fill in one of the empty squares or segment of the individual sheet, such as the fatigue box or the clock. Conversely, you may be instructed to clear marks. You erase the marks. Striking. Similar to marking, you will sometimes be instructed to strike different elements on the investigator's sheet. Attributes, obligations, keywords, all can be struck. To strike an element, you draw a line through it. Oh, so you can actually decrease, like, the fatigue box. Struck elements cannot be used during play until you're instructed to clear the strike. The clock. The basic unit of time in Caught in the Rain is a day. Each day is divided into 4 scenes. These scenes are tracked using the clock, a circle with 4 segments on the investigator's sheet. Whenever a scene ends, you must mark one of the unmarked segments. What happens when the clock is filled? A new day has begun. Following the steps below, mark fatigue for each unstruck obligation. The instructor may gain additional obligations when playing with optional rules. Not doing that today. Clear all marks on the clocks and all strikes on obligations. Generate a random event to your investigation. The random event does not affect the clock. Decide how your investigator attempts to resolve the event, then roll an attribute test. Continue the game as normal, starting a new scene. Okay, we got a flow chart here. Okay, I'm not going to go through all this at the moment. But you basically choose to investigate, where you investigate a location to recover clues while danger continues against you. Truth. Reveal truth cards using clues to help you resolve the mystery and keep your clues set safe. Obligations. Explore your investigator as a person by describing how they manage an obligation. And also, not have the obligation explode on you. Clear fatigue to be better prepared for your investigation. When the scene ends, choose to resolve the mystery or continue. Track time by filling the clock. If it's full, you start a new day. So technically, you could avoid your obligations and just rest. And the fatigue won't catch up with you, which is kind of funny. And kind of what I can think of in a few investigator detective type movies where they just shirk their obligations. Anyways, so this is getting into the scenes, which I will get into later. Let's see if there's anything else I need to go over. Nope, those are going to each one, which I will probably just get to on my own and read them then instead of all right now. The solve. Eventually, your investigator efforts will result in them uncovering the truth. Whether they learn everything or not depends on how well your investigator has avoided danger or how quickly they have uncovered rules. The end of the game is triggered when one of the following conditions are true. You choose to resolve the mystery at the end of a scene. The clue deck is empty. You roll a 10 plus on the consequences table. Playing the end of the game. When the end of the game is triggered, your investigator attempts to piece together their clues to uncover the truth. You use end of the game trigger to inform them about the final scene and could look like and what brought it about. This could involve them presenting the case to someone significant or to them or a final showdown with the culprits. After setting the scene, follow the instructions on the next page to resolve the mystery and determine the outcome. This involves guessing the truth cards set aside at the start of the game. Any information correctly guessed represents crucial information that is missing or ways your investigation was led astray. Consider how this might be reflected in the scene. So we are literally doing clue here. So actually, where are the 3 cards? There they are. Okay. So you know on Clue how you put everything in an envelope and you try to guess them at the end? That's exactly what we're doing here. That's kind of funny. I won't read more into that until we get to that point. And now we just go into some examples. Okay, we get into optional rules. Getting into careers, progression, multiplayer. Technically, I always put a good solo RPG could have more people involved. Now it gets a little messy, like the Ironsworn games, where like I don't think they're the best system for actually playing. They just get the thing done. Like I've done a bit of solo. I never have done it on this channel. But I try to play a bit of an Ironsworn campaign, and it's just basically I end up rolling the same thing over and over again. But it's progressing through the scenes, and it's a little It gets a bit into, you have when you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail. So you if you're not forced to actually use any other skill or any of the other attributes, you just use the one until you're forced not to. Then you use the best one there. There's not really any decision, which I mean could fall back to like just roleplay it, dude. But it was a little underwhelming, shall I say? It works well enough, but a little underwhelming. Okay, since I have gone through most of this, I'm going to hop over to the quick rules section, put down my bookmarks so that I can just live here, and see if there's anything else. Nope. But first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to roll up a first name for the person who came to me from the church, and it is Yoko. So Yoko comes to me from the church. I'm sitting there in the Lorenzo. Oh, I haven't drawn Lorenzo yet. Let me put this aside and just do a little bit, and I will wiggle the chin. Let me turn that. Let me go back to my olden days. So Lorenzo is in his office. Yoko comes in. She's been at this church for a while and realizes that things are a little off there. The other day, after going to congregation, she had found an utter stash of drugs at the church. Now, she doesn't know if, like, the actual minister is, or priest is involved, but she can't rule him out, and she just doesn't know what to do with this. And she had to come to someone. And she'll offer some money to get it resolved, because either way, she doesn't want to be involved in a place that is... Turn that off. That is becoming a drug den. Why is it selecting? Do I have, no, I don't have that on. What's going on here? Oh, yeah, it's selected at the edges. Okay. So this is an old style I kind of used at one point when I was trying to do digital, where I just repeatedly go over white, black, white, black. I forgot the actual artist. Calvin Hobbes, maybe? Had kind of used this. Dan Kim, from Clone Manga fame, kind of used this. This is, old Nordic, so he has to wear a suit. Sorolens is like thinking a bit. He hasn't had any case come across his desk for a while now. So he thinks about it. He asked for like, how much is she thinking that this is going to go? And she gives him some amount, and he reluctantly agrees. Oh, we can't forget. I mean, how would this actually work? I think he'll do the standard sort of tie off instead of having to flap around. Would he get a prosthetic? I don't think he's had time to get a prosthetic yet. Like, it's healed, but he has other bigger issues. So he has this all tied up, looped around, tied. Comes out. And it is just the sleeve. So he's very noticeable, which isn't a good thing. But there's not much you can do about that. So what do I think about him? Lorenzo, I think I should make him a little thinner. I don't think he's a bulky guy. He's a guy that knows about breaking an entry. He seems kind of like small. That's what my brain says. Give him an ear here. I think he'd be rather well kept. He doesn't want to stand out. He never wanted to stand out, but now he kind of doesn't have that option anymore. Let's thin out this a little bit. Whoop. I hit a button I never hit before. Okay. So he goes through with it, and he looks at his calendar, and he needs to go and talk to his lawyer today. But he can do that this afternoon. So he's like, okay, miss, I'll go there and take a look at your church. He gets the location. And he heads out. So our first thing is going to be an investigation scene once I complete this up. I'm going to give him thin eyes. It's relatively clean cut and all that. Thin lips. Sunken in. Keep him rather young. He's spry. He has a lot of trouble ahead of him, but he's young. He'll make through it if he doesn't get thrown into the jail for all this. Okay, so we're going with this. Oh, wait. There we go. Every detective needs this sort of hat. See? There we go. Okay, so let's read how to do an investigation scene, because I skipped over those for the obvious reason of, why read it until we need it. The quick rules say, make an investigation roll and succeed on attribute tests to move through the subsequent required stages. Gain a clue once the additional stages have been completed. Page 23. Let's jump over. When your investigator tries to peel back the mask and uncover secrets, start an investigation scene. This will involve them going to a location to find a clue. As a player, you will progress through the different investigation stages in sequence by rolling attribute tests. Okay, so there's some nice procedure in here, and it isn't just one roll. That's what I kind of disliked about Iron Sworn, is like everything's one roll. It's like an all or nothing. And like, you can sit there and work at the thing until you get like a really big consequence that ruins everything. Or you just complete it. It's iffy. Maybe this will be that, but we'll see. Before you start the scene, roll 1d6 and add that danger to the result. This will determine how straightforward or how complicated the investigation scene is, and what investigation stage to start in. Whether a threat is present or not, refer to the table for results. 6. Someone has noticed your investigation. Start the scene with an infiltration stage in the infiltration stage and introduce a level 2 threat. We're starting off hot tonight. Okay. Threats and rivals are playing with the optional rules, so I was right, they were an optional rule. They can be anything from landslides to people with guns. A new threat is introduced at any time. A result of an attribute test in a investigation scenario is lower than the current danger level. Determining the nature of a threat for using the random threats table in Chapter 4 for inspiration. Inside 1 from 1 to 3. A threat's level depends on how dangerous or aware your investigator is. Write the nature of the threat on the threat's mysteries. Okay, so let me get my bookmark. And threats. I'm guessing I'm going to look in NOR. Do we have NOR threats? Or NOR keywords? There we go. 41. Unstable structure. Okay, I can work with this. Let's get into that in a second. So, threat. I have an idea. If I can spell. Anytime you can act against a threat to try to remove it from the scene, do so. Make an attribute test. If successful, make a mark next to the threat's name, or 2 marks if you got a 10+. Once the threat has marks equal to its level, it is removed. What threats do? After every attribute test, successful or not, any threats not acted against act now, except for any threats just introduced. When a threat acts, roll 1d6 on the consequence table, page 28, and then add the threat's level to the roll. Then resolve the effect. This means you could roll multiple times on the consequence table if multiple threats are present. Okay, so it's introduced when I go into there. So, okay. So, when Lorenz makes it to the church, he looks around and he notices something very interesting. At the bottom back of the church, there's this boarded up area on the wall. And he's like, huh, that doesn't look right. He pokes at it, but he notices that there's like no dust or clutter. This has been used recently. And being the detective he is, he pokes his head where it shouldn't be. Starts going into this underground part, which is actually dilapidated, leading into the sewer. So, let me take a quick look at attribute tests. When your investigator tries to progress to something in the investigation phase, or act against a threat, they perform an attribute test to find out what happens. Choose an unstuck attribute, power, insight, and describe what happens in your investigation. Roll 2d6, add it together, then add the results below. Okay, so this is a 1, 6, 7, 9, succeed at a cost, and 10+ succeed sort of situation. So, I'm going to use my method, and my method is being sneaky. So he goes in there. So we got a 5 plus 2, 7, so barely success at a cost. Your investigation succeeds, but there's a complication. Suffer a complication. Any threat not act against you now act. Okay, let's see. Consequences. Let's roll a result. That's a 6. That's plus 2. Mark 2 fatigue. So I'm going to say we go in there. We fall. Like something breaks. Just as you would expect from there. And we take 2 fatigue damage. But we've... well, I should probably do this on another layer. Oop. But we get in. Okay, so we've done that. Jump back to the investigation part. Okay, so we succeeded. We're in the discovery stage. Discovery stage is where you find investigator figures out where to find clues at the location. This could involve sneaking through a large manor, all that. Okay, so let me... Is there a proper page for this? So I don't think this is currently at the scene, because this is only in the investigator scene. Or, oh no. Okay, I guess this is still here. So I'm going to try and, excuse me. Try and, like, get a hang of this and, like, get over this unstable ground, because this is going to be a problem if I keep falling down here. So defeating the threats, you can act against a threat to try and move it by doing this. Make an attribute check, a successful mark. So 4, I'm going to use my methodology, because I know what the heck I'm doing. 5, so 7. So make 1 mark against this thing. So I need to have 4 marks. Which is going to be a problem, because technically I suffered a failure at that. It's going to suck if my first thing, I just die at the bottom of a... underneath a church. Because of the unstable ground. Oh wait, sorry. After describe the scene, they will try to progress to the next scene. Okay, danger is increased by 1. I think I made... Okay, let me... I might have done something out of order. Let me just figure this out. So first, danger has increased. I'm going to put 1 there. Complete. That's 1 danger. Discovery stage. Complete the stage to learn where to find a clue. Because I skipped over this part. Okay. Succeeding on the attribute test completes the stage. This means that you have accomplished what the stage is about. After resolving the investigation scene, describe the scene. Then figure out how to move on to the next one. Then move to the next one. Then you need to repeat until you completed either the acquisition stage and get a clue, or the threat, or if a threat is present, the escape stage. If your fatigue is filled up, skip to the escape stage. Okay, so we succeeded. We went to the discovery. I guess I'm a little confused because the threat says you can make against the threats. Anytime you can act against a threat to try and remove it from the scene. To do so, make an attribute test. Successful, make mark. So I can do that. Okay, at any time. So I'm going to do that right now. Truly. So I rolled an 8, which is still succeed at a cost. And we increase the level of the threat. So we made a mark against it. We tried to figure out something, but is now a 3. This seems a little... I don't know. This seems a little untenable. Because, like, we probably aren't going to be getting, like, plus 10s. Or 10 pluses. From the look of this. Because any sort of action, like... We succeed at a cost. And our success is putting a mark against it. And pretty much every consequence is... increase... the threat by 1. I mean, technically we can't increase it anymore. But now we got plus 3 to the danger roll, which is pretty much going to stop the investigation. So I kind of think that this attribute test and threat thing is not really going to work out, because you basically have to roll, for my character, is plus 2. So we have to roll an 8 to actually make proper successes and not just like get wrecked or lose all our stuff. So I guess there's no point in actually trying to defeat threats. It's mostly like if I had to just do like 2 marks, it's like I have to do 5 more marks against this to get rid of it, which is probably just going to actually just kill me. Or remove all my clues. So I don't know. This seems a little undercooked here. Anyways, so since I'm not going to be rolling against that anymore. Yep. So this is Caught in the Rain, which is a solo RPG. I'm fumbling through it. Currently, Lorenz Cromwell has been asked to check out what's going on with drugs in this church. And he's discovered that there is a... in the back, there's clearly somebody have boarded up, but made it so that they can move down into, like, basically starting to go into the sewer. And currently he's dealing with unstable structure that's probably trying to kill him right now. And I'm not even sure I'm going to make it through this because it's a little weird. As I was stating, I was trying to figure this out. Because the main thing you do is make an attribute roll. And pretty much 1 through 9, when rolling 2d6 plus your attribute, is going to cause you to have consequences which are going to make the threat bigger, or just cause you effectively damage or lose clues. And given that I have to have 6 marks against this, I'm going to double check that because that doesn't make too much sense. Once a threat, yeah. Once a threat equal to its level, it's... oh no, equal to its level. Okay, thought it said it had to be twice that. That might have been somewhere else. I mean, technically I can make 2 more rolls, but I think I'm going to... you know, right now I can't lose anything. So I'm going to try to do something. I'm going to use his methodology, which is his highest because he's not a powerhouse, to try and get through this. 4 plus 2. So that's actually a 10. That's the only real thing. So he's pushed some crap that he found down there, some bricks, some loose stonework, to make sure that this whole like little structure and cubbyhole is proper and he isn't going to be hurting himself. So we've removed this threat for right now. I was saying, like, I didn't think it was worth it, but if I had to do that like to 6, yeah, no. I don't know where I got the ×2 from. Oh, no, I read the 2 marks. That's probably where I mixed it up. I'm speed reading, which is causing issues. Okay, back to the investigation. So he's made it safer down here. This is an utter bad idea, but he continues. So now we're in the discovery stage, where we're trying to figure out what sort of clues can we get down here. And let me give a roll. 6 plus 1 plus methodology. because he's looking around. And that leads us to the next one. Let's see. Which increases the danger by 1. Acquisition stage. Complete the stage by succeeding on an attribute test to gain a clue. Sorry. The acquisition stage is where you investigator discovers a clue. The clue could be them cracking open a safe, reading a journal, or bypassing a network firewall, because this can work in multiple genres. The scene ends when, at the conclusion of the stage, if a threat is present, you must move to the escape stage. Okay, so I roll 6 and 1. That's 7 plus 2 give me 9, which is still success at a cost. And since I no longer have a threat of something falling on my head, let me roll the consequence, which is 4. Discard a card from the clue deck. I don't have a clue deck yet. Oh, from the clue deck. Oh, okay. That's interesting. Not from the clues I have. So I do that. Sorry. Page 29 on clues. Or, nope, that's threats. Wrong page. Ah. When we go to the index, the best part of any book. Mystery. Solve. Clues, page 15. I know I read over it, but just to make sure. Establish or strengthen, da-da-da. Okay, so I guess I just literally draw this. Okay, it is a 9 of diamonds. Since there are random words on here, I'm going to see if there's anything that jumps out at me. Nope, nothing is jumping out on me, so I'm going to see if there is a clues table in the back for Nor. Yes, there is. 4 and 3. Partial confession. Okay, okay. I think we're cooking here. 9 of diamonds. Partial confession. So, we have a partial confession. What could that mean? That could be literally a list of deals that have been done. So we got a scrawled out piece of paper down here that is effectively taking inventory, like it's written in code names or whatever, but it literally just has his to-do list, and it's make deliveries to people. The names aren't anything that was recognizable as actual names. The places aren't actually recognizable as places, but they're on there and they have money transactions on them. So clearly somebody is using this location as their base for doing drugs. So we got that, and we leave with our clue, I believe, because I don't think, because we taken care of the threat. And by taking care of the threat, we don't have to deal with the, what do you want to call it? The escape sequence. So we get out of there, and somebody is dealing drugs out of here, or at least, this is their office, shall we say, which isn't in the church, which is interesting. So either the priest or people involved in the church are crawling under the church to write down all their stuff, which doesn't seem likely, but wouldn't rule that out. Or somebody is just trying to use this place to, you know, not attract attention. Because do you really want to investigate a guy at church? devious. Anyways, so we get that done. That's something to start out with. Just a little sick. And that means we mark off a slot of the clock. So we have 3 more actions until the day's done, and we take a fatigue. We already taken some fatigue. Oh yes, Vega, as you're here. This is Lorenzo Cromwell. He was recently in an accident where he was trying to track down somebody who had abducted a girl. And he found some information and caught them speeding off and went after them. However, he rear-ended them as they swerved, and it turns out the girl was in the back of the trunk. He lost his arm during that, but the girl lost his life. So now he's in a legal battle again for her wrongful death, which means he needs money badly. So he's taking this case because he needs to either pay rent or his legal fees, and he'd rather pay both. So that's where we're at with him. Anyways, back to this. So the obligation. He's going to go to his lawyer and talk with them and all that, and they go over this thing. He's like saying, "You need to get me the money, guy." It's like, "Yeah, I know I do." And we'll move on from there. So now that we're out again, we can choose to rest, try to reveal the truth. Okay, I have to take a look at this reveal truth part. Choose a clue that has not been established as truth and rotate it 90 degrees. When you do so, draw and look at a number of cards from the truth deck equal to the number of cards in the card deck. Remove these truth cards from the game. For each truth card removed, consider what, where, and who it represents in the mystery and modify the clue description as you would string a clue. Answer the following questions. What connection does your investigator make to confirm this truth? I'm going to say he can't find anything right now because this would only take off 1. And the truth deck is like all the face cards. And effectively, we're doing clue. We're trying to figure out what 3 cards we removed from the truth deck. And if we guess them all right, we basically have completed 100% of the mystery. So that's the situation there. So anyways, I think I'm going to go and do a little more investigation. Where am I going to investigate, though? So I have this half-compiled list of things. I guess, I mean, it'll still be at the church. Let's start rolling at that. Go back, maybe talk to like a groundskeeper or something to see what's going on, because, you know, somebody has to maintain these lawns. Somebody has to maintain the place. Talk to them. See if they know about like a little hole in the basement. So we're back in the investigation scene. Okay. Okay, we start in the discovery stage. So we roll up, nothing bad happens. Let's roll. So this isn't going to be this is going to be him being talking and all that, which is under methodology. And that's a great success. Gain a bonus clue. Okay. So let me draw these and like roll a little bit on the tables or see what pops up. So we get 2 clues. We got skilled. So, okay, I'm going to say we did find the groundskeeper, or whoever maintains this building. We caught him, like, cleaning up afterwards. It isn't the priest. We talked to him a bit, and what do we get from him? We got 2 clues here, so I'm going to roll twice on the clue table. I got the 7 of... As I said, I'm terrible at shuffling, but I didn't think I was this bad. We got the 7 of diamonds and the 8 of diamonds. I'm going to try to shuffle this up a bit more, because I feel like I only broke it into sections. Either way. Okay, we got a 6-2. Which gives me... Six two. A cipher. Let me think a minute on that one. See what the other clue is. A 1-6. Reoccurring symbol. Okay, okay. I think I can put these all together. I need more room on my desk. Seven of diamonds. Cipher. 8 of diamonds. What did I say? Symbol. Okay, okay, okay. So, Lorenz finds the groundskeeper who's cleaning up a little bit. And Lorenz pokes at him and says, like, hey, have you seen anything strange out back? And he's like, yeah. Yeah, actually, he just gives us. He's like, yeah, I found this, like, scrap of paper around. I can't make any sense of it. Lorenz looks at it and it's like, oh, it's the same handwriting as the other one. And it has a few bits of, like, what he's trying to remember as, or, as I said before. Like, the other thing didn't make sense. He found basically a bill of goods of, like, where the deals, or where he's making deliveries to. But now it's making more sense. Like, he's seen, like, a few things in there, like, oh, this is how he's substituting. This is actually what he means by this location. This was meant to be, like, a little note for him to remember later. And it probably fell out of his pocket because getting out of that area is a mess. I mean, it almost killed Lorenz earlier that day. So we have a bit of something here. Now then. Okay. Well, I'm not going to gain 1 fatigue because I've marked off my obligation for the day. But I am at 1. So I'm going to rest and we're going to take this down 1. Okay, good. Erase. 1. And then we move on to the next day, because that crossed off 1 doing that. So I'm going to say we got an area after looking at that, because we copied down that little partial confession of where he's doing the deliveries. We have what relatively makes sense of what those were. So let me just roll a location to see where he was dropping off some of these things. 43. Hotel. We got a hotel with a number on it. So we're going to go and investigate that. So let's roll. We are... Let me check on something. Does the danger level ever go down? I think technically I should have 1 more danger just from... So we skipped that. Yeah, so we have 3 danger. Which basically means we're going to always have problems and we're not going to get anywhere, which I don't like. So I want to see if there's any way... There we go. We have danger level 3 because we did an investigation. I'm going to look in the index to see if there's anything I can do about that. Or did the end of the day reduce danger? So this is always going up. We're just going to be doing a whole bunch of like, oh, yep, you're just... You have a level 3 threat sitting there and it's going to be messing up everything you do, which might be intentional, but... Okay, let's get back to before that. Flow of play, describing scenes, end of day. I'm looking for the end of day part. Generate the clock. Oh, I forgot to do a random event. My bad. So there should have been a random event at the start of the day. When the two dice in the attribute roll are the same number, a random event occurs, or at the start of a new day. So 57. This is to, you know, color what's going on and possibly add things. $64. Focus. Okay. So I'll go with like he breaks the cipher. He figures this all out, or he figures out that it was a cipher, but he needed more to actually get anything meaningful out of it. Okay. Anyway, jumping back, I need to. Random events, keywords, breast scenes, truth scenes. Sorry. Also, technically, every time you do a rest or anything else, you remove clues from the deck. Okay, so I just discarded them. Sorry, a little all over the place, but I need more charts that actually have every part of it than random sections that I have to turn to. Okay, either way. I mean, I get to see what the discarded cards are, actually. Well, they wouldn't have helped me anyways. I want to get a set that's at least like 2 or 3 before I start converting them to truths so that I can actually get rid of the possible suspects. But I want to find, does danger ever go down? Because given how it goes, there's no point in rolling once you do like 3 investigations. And that seems silly to me. 12. Danger is a value that represents how much danger. It begins at 0 and fluctuates throughout the game, but I don't see it fluctuate. I just see it going up. Out of play, striking attribute test, false leads, yada yada. No, either way. Yeah, every attribute test, you basically make it go up by 1. That's not fluctuating. Oh, okay, I see it here. So when you resolve an outcome, introduce a level 1 threat and half the danger when you roll less than the current danger on your dice. Okay, that's how it goes down. Halving would actually increase longevity a bit. Either way, okay. Anyway, so we're going to a seedy motel now. I'm going to roll 1d6 plus 3. That gives me a 5. Something or someone in the investigation's waste. Start the scene with in the infiltration stage and introduce a level 1 threat. And I think I did this all in one layer because I'm silly. Very silly. Okay, let's see what sort of threat we have here. So this is a level 1 threat, and what's a Nor threat? Roll them 2d6. Double 6. A frustrated resident. Okay. He sees me skulking around, and I look like a detective, and he just starts getting into my face about like, what have you done the things yet or whatever. So okay, I guess I'm going to have methodology fits in there well. Insight is supposed to be like looking at things. Methodology is going there, and like I can't use my signature keyword for this because I'm not like really sneaking, or am I? No, I won't say I'm sneaking yet. Good roll on that. Do. 4 plus 2, so 8. At a cost. What's the consequence? Increase the threat level of the threat by 1 if there is no threats. Okay, so it kind of works, but it got worse. So like, he's not convinced. He thinks we're just trying to shirk like our duties here, and he's still standing there. He's not letting us do anything. And we can't like really investigate with this guy just yelling at us that we're not taking care of his problems. Ooh, that's double ones. Okay, gain a keyword, 31. Keywords are basically items in this game. Keywords are words or phrases gained throughout play that represent events, items, factions, or critical insight relative to mystery, like an access pass for a laboratory or phone or whatever. When you gain a keyword, use the random keyword table in the oracles to inspire a word or phrase and write it down. So I could use it to strengthen a clue, eliminate a threat, or re-roll an attribute test. So, okay, let's see what keyword we got. 6-3. Presence. Presence. Okay, I think, I want to say that... it's presence, but I want to say suspect. Because this guy's ranting at us. And a name comes up, and like he points in the location of the hotel we're going. So I think we're going to remember that, and it might actually be useful because like somebody who's doing like who's involved in drug deals is probably somebody that's not great to their neighbors. So anyways, and we suffer a consequence. 8, we mark 2 fatigue. This is a death spiral. So we're at 3. So once we hit 5, we are automatically booted out. I want to keep suspect. I'm going to roll one more time to try to get rid of him because I only need to roll one more. As long as he doesn't grow. 6 plus 2 is 8. Plus 2 more is 10, which means we get a bonus clue out of this. So we finally convince him that we aren't a detective, but we are trying to figure out something about this guy. And we think he's into some bad stuff, and his eyes light up, and he just wants to speak ill about this person. So we gain a clue, which is a 2 of diamonds. I getting all the diamonds. Let's see what this clue is in the back. 22. Forensic evidence. Okay, his neighbor says, yeah, he jumped out all this crap and it looks really suspicious. It's all this scientific stuff. I think I saw powders, I saw like lab equipment or whatever. He just chucked it all out. So we go over there, we root through his trash and get it. We still need to do our investigation, but we got rid of that threat. And now we can actually move on to doing the first part of this, which is the infiltration scene. So 3 plus 2 plus 2. Don't do math live, is 7. Let me get back to the single page that is the attribute roll. So success at a cost. So we move on, but we roll consequence, which is increase the level of threat by 1 or increase the danger. So our danger increases by 2. It is now 5. Of course, I put it like that. Which means if our rolls are less than 5, we automatically spawn a threat. So now we're actually in the investigation. So we got into this guy's place and we're skulking around a little bit. So 3 and 3 plus 2, so 6. Success at a cost. We have no threat right now. And we increase the danger by 1. So danger is at a 7 now. Whoops, that's the wrong button. So we're probably going to spawn a threat in the next one. And now we're into getting a clue. So I think I am going to go with the search through his trash option. Like, why confront the guy when I told something odd has been thrown out of the back, and we're going to do that. So 3 plus 5. That's 8 plus 2. 10. We get a bonus clue, so we get 2 clues out of this. And the danger goes up to 8. And we still have not gotten anything that will strengthen any of our clues right now. But let's take a look at what we did get out of rooting through some guy's garbage, like some sort of raccoon. Oh wait, actually I don't think I put all my clues in here. Okay, so the 2 of diamonds, which is what we got from that guy, was neighbor complaint. I can't spell. That was symbols. Either way. And then we got a 4. We can get rid of threats. Or this, because this isn't part of base game. Okay, so the 4 of spades is 3 and 6. Criminal record. What would be criminal record out there? Oh, okay. Parole letters. Something of that nature. Like something to do with, or like court parole letters. Something of that nature. Like somebody's trying to get him to the court. And the other one, which is 3 of spades, is 6-5. Eviction notice. Which is 3. All right, so we have gotten an eviction notice and some information that is like, hey, dude, you need to talk to us. The police haven't been able to contact them and say, like, hey, something bad's going to happen if you keep stiffing us. And none of these I can combine into anything yet. So I'm going to take my leave, and I have a huge stack of... Whoop, that's over here. Of dangers, so I'm probably going to get a threat next time I actually roll anything. So let's mark this off. Let's possibly get into obligation later, but I need to really get this fatigue down. So I'm going to do that now. I discard a clue. And then I roll 1d6. Which is a 1, of course. C'est la vie. And then I move on to... Do I want to strengthen this clue? So I got a bunch of little clues right now. And strengthening a clue basically nails them down. That's truth. Sorry. I want to go over this again. So, okay, yeah. If I draw later things, I can't strengthen this. So if I draw like another 3, I can't do anything with it. It just goes away. So I should wait a bit. So I think I'm going to investigate a little on something. So I had some official papers. I think I'm going to like talk to some police buddies or whatever. So let's go on and do that. So first we do a roll on the investigation scene. 1 plus the danger level, which is going to be, we're going to have something that's noticed you. Start with a level 2 threat. So we have a level 2 threat, which is... $61. Consuming fear. Level 2. Consuming fear is about, I'll say is like literally about like, oh god, I might be actually going to the jail soon. Like thinking about this and looking at these. He isn't doing great. I'm going to let that sit for a second and just try to get through, because I want this danger level down. And technically this isn't in effect yet until the next scene, but we'll see. So 6-1, so it's 8. So was it less than danger level? Whoop, whoop, whoop. It has to be less than danger level. So 8, we succeed, but at a cost. So we roll this plus 2. And we increase that threat by 1, because we're getting closer to the courthouse. Of course. No problem. There we go. So we move on. We're on the next one. Our danger is now 9. Whoops. Oop. Let's delete that as well. I'll just do it all in the new layer, or I'll just keep deleting everything. Doesn't matter. Okay. roll again. So 4 plus 2, so 9. Succeed at a cost. 3 plus 3, so we mark 1 fatigue. These are really weighing on us. As we get in there, we talk to our buddy. This goes up to 10. Because we managed to once again roll on it. So we're in the acquisition phase. We meet our old police friend, and like we pull out these documents and like saying, hey, we have some weird information about this guy. Do you know anything more about him? Okay, so that's 6 plus 2, so that's 8. So the success at a cost. That's 2 plus 3. So we discard a card from the clue deck. We lost a clue. Okay, that's fine. And we get a clue, which is a 10 of hearts. So I have made absolutely no set yet, and this is concerning. What comes through for this clue? 3 and 6. Criminal record. Yeah, he blatantly gives us a criminal record of him. He's like, yeah, this guy's done a lot of crap. 10 hearts. Criminal record. We listen to a bit and like, oh, okay. Yeah, criminal record, haha. So now we have to do the escape because we have a threat. And like, not spill our spaghetti, I guess, at this point in time. Five and 1, so that's 6 plus 7, so at a cost. Which is 4 plus 2, which I think is a bunch of fatigue. I need more ribbons. Okay, so that's 5. Oh, wait. So I rolled 5. Plus 3, which is 8. Mark 2 fatigue, yep. So we're at 5 fatigue. Let me just double check what happens if you max out your fatigue. I think like something happens. Yeah, so this kills our highest attribute. This happens during an investigation thing. Yeah, actually, we were escaping it, so we do that. So anyways, that marks 1 off. And I think we're going to rest again, because we can't do anything with our methodology just done. So discard a card and roll. So that's 3 fatigue marked off. Back down to 2. We really need to get rid of that danger. Do the threats clear up after we escape? That's a question. Truth. The escape stage is where your investigator flees the scene and ends the scene. This is only required if a threat is present. I would assume the threats go away, but I want threats, survivals, repose. Make threats where threats through. After every attribute is successful, not threat. Now. So they always... Okay, so I would also make a attribute. 4, so plus 3. Okay, this is a little convoluted here. Yeah, I would have marked fatigue, and I got rid of fatigue. Okay. So it's not saying that the threat is, like, going away. Because, like, that doesn't make sense. Like, you have a landslide. That doesn't stay with you when you go to a different place. I want to say that the threat goes away at the end of the scene because it doesn't make sense if it doesn't. And I think it's kind of implied that, like, Rivals was supposed to be something that follows you from place to place on there. So I'm just going to make that, and while this one would make sense, like, if we had unstable footing, like, it doesn't make sense that unstable footing would follow me for the rest of the thing. Okay, anyways. Start of a new day. We get 1 fatigue for not doing our obligation. That's the wrong color. Why does it do that? And I might end this short because this is taking a rather while. I mean, I just got into it, but I have nothing that I would really want to cash in to try and figure out stuff. Because I have no sets. I have, like, I'm missing a 5, an ace, and that's it. So anyway, let's do a little more investigation. So, I'll say when we talked to the buddy, we found out a bar that the guy used to go to a lot. Because he said he used to go there, so he tried to figure it out. Tried to, like, catch him because he's been, like, not showing up to the proper official things. But anyways, we roll on the investigation starting. We have no threat right now. Oh, we had danger. So we're automatically getting something at level 2. Okay. 3, 6. Oh, where is it? No object, no clues, keywords. Threats, there we go. Toxic chemical. I'm going to say it's the booze. The need to drink the booze at the bar. So we slide on in there. And the first thing we're going to do is like, okay, I'm going to try to buy some to get in good with the bartender to see if they can loosen their lips as we loosen ours. So that's a 6. So that's a 9. We do make a mark against it, but we get the thing. Now this is active still. And the consequence table is 5 plus 2. I need more bookmarks. So I need to get back to... Okay, 5 plus 2. So gain 1 fatigue. Oh no, gain 2 fatigue. Oh no. So we're at 5. Also, technically, we rolled underneath 10. So that introduces a level 1 threat. And halves this, so our danger is down to 5. And just for giggles, we'll roll the threat. 5 and 4, because this is basically we have to leave the area now. Because we've hit our fatigue, our highest stat is now useless. What's the threat, though? Altered state. We hit it hard, and we just start slurring and all that. We are drunk because of that. The bartender isn't going to tell us anything. We basically have to leave, so we have to roll to get out of there. Okay, we got a random event too, but that doesn't like change anything. That doesn't like add more to this. It's fluff. It'd be nice if it did, but anyways. I think we're going to finish up this day and call it good, but so does the quick rules have all the resolutions on there? Three is failure, gain a keyword, and suffer consequences. So, okay, with the keywords, technically I think you fail to get forward, but I'm not failing enough till now. Okay, let's roll what keyword we get. Double sixes. Trail. Like, maybe we get something out of there, but, yeah. And then the threats roll. So we have 2 and 2. So we have 5. Mark 1 fatigue. And then we had another 2 plus 1. Plus 1 threat. So that's level 2 threat. Try to escape out of there. 3 and 3. Not making it. Once again, we get another keyword. So I think I'm going to wrap this up because this is basically in a cycle right now where I'd be going through all the procedures, getting all these keywords, but not actually getting out of the situation. I mean, also, then they would also roll theirs as well. So, interesting. Anyways, I'm going to read over the solving the mystery section and just give some thoughts on this because we've gone through a couple things, and while it kind of works, I'm kind of a little concerned about a few parts. But anyways, the solve. The clue deck is empty. You roll 10 plus on the consequence table. When you end the game, trigger it. Okay. Write down the guesses of each of the truth cards set aside at the start of the game. Reveal the cards and compare the guesses. Starting with your first question below, and progressing in order, answer one of the questions for each correct guess. The answers you provide are true. Why was the location significant? Why was the object significant? Why did the treachery befall the object? Optionally, write down any lingering questions you have about the mystery that could be used for future mysteries you're playing with a career. So as I said before, this would be clues. So we have 3 cards here. I will guess Jack of Spades, Queen of Hearts, and King of Diamonds. And why was the location significant? It was a hideout. Why is the object significant? It's what his business was. And why did the treachery befall? And the treachery was this one right here, exposed. Why did it befall? Because he was trying to why did he move stuff upstairs? He wanted to start forcing his way out of the basement into the main place. He wanted to, like, basically start living in the church. Oh, I did get the Jack of Spades. So I'll say I was right on why it was the church. Got the Jack of Clubs and the Jack of Hearts, because I can't shuffle. Actually, no, that is a good shuffle. But so we didn't really complete the mystery. Would we say that we were completely correct in there? we had the basic idea. We can't say why they were actually doing stuff up there. It was just that he was doing stuff downstairs, and that's like where he moved to. But yeah. So what do I think? I think the threats get out of hand way too quick for any sort of resolution that goes on. Because like we drew like 9 cards, and if we were to try and use them, we would have ruled out how many? There'd be 12. So it takes an entire action to rule out one of them. Maybe if I played this right, I would have gotten further in it, but that threat system doesn't seem conductive to actually playing the game. Because you can't deal with the threats. If you can't deal with the threats, what's the point of having them besides to like accelerate the end of the game? Which, I mean, that could be the point, but it doesn't seem like a satisfying one. And it did what happens when I work with like Iron Sword and all that. I just bullshit my way to the one attribute that is the highest. Like maybe if investigation ones, you had a penalty to it depending on there, or you had to roll the situation for what you had to use in there or something. That might have been more interesting, but no, I just default to like, yeah, I'm going to go in and try to figure it out by sneaking in there and playing like what's going on, and like try to figure it out that way, which isn't, as I said before, it isn't the most fulfilling way to play this. I mean, if I role play it more, but there's a lot of work involved, which gets me also to like the resolution. It's it feels like it's basically a 50-50 system, because you're rolling 2d6 and it goes from like 1 to 9 for either you get a consequence or you get a consequence, but you succeed at the current thing. So you just I don't know. It has some good ideas, but I feel like it needs to be fleshed out. And the stages are there, but there needs to be more to them, and other than like, okay, here's this stage, you roll attribute and you gain a danger. Okay, you roll attribute again and you gain a danger. Oh, is there a threat there? Okay, now you have to escape the threat and gain a danger. The danger thing seems tacked on, and well, it like could do something. Like, I half expected this to have an entire section for each one of the clue cards and like what they could mean, because that's commonly what happens in these sort of games. They have an entire section where the deck of cards is like divided into each one, and each suit is its own thing. Like one of them's a danger, one of them is a helpful thing, one of them is, like the face cards are allies if they're on the red side. But this didn't have any of that, and that just feels a little eh. I like the format, like where you get these 3 things, and that's what you're trying to guess out of the deck at the end, or out of the truth pile at the end, but it just doesn't work out. And as I said before, I didn't get a confirmation, maybe I just missed it, if threats carry over between scenes, because it doesn't explicitly say that they're only for that scene. And I just get a lot of these clue cards which are sitting around, and I need to get more in order to actually thin down the pile. Because to do this correctly and actually know what's going on, you need to thin out... What did I say? You need to thin out 9 cards. So that's 9 actions you have to take. And I guess after you get a bunch of clues, you could just spend like a few days establishing truths, which I didn't do any of, because like it only would do 1 at a time, and then any future clues of that rank are not usable. But I guess you do get you can get 10 if you get every single one. So I guess maybe at like towards the end I should have just been establishing all the truths of these and then going to. Maybe it's a bit better than I thought, but I'd really like it to have had an extra section on like if this is drawn as a clue, what it can mean to that, and then you would have like side things like, oh, you need to have like roll power, and you can get an additional clue on this, or if you have intelligence, roll for an additional one. Give some actual meaning to these attributes because they're just kind of floating in. Like, you could rename these anything. Like, the names don't quite matter, and that's a shame. Because as I said, you could just, like, square peg, round, or round peg, square hole. For any of these, as long as you think right. And while that's desirable in some instances, it just seems cheap. I don't know. I could see this being better, but it would require some more work. But I think it has some interesting things. Like, I didn't get enough keywords to start using them to get rid of, like, threats or, like, re-roll stuff and all that. But, like, maybe if I had more failures in the beginning, I'd have keywords and I'd be using them to, like, make better rolls and, like, get more tens and, like, get rid of the threats at my current location or get bonus clues. And this would have been going on. But, yeah. It kind of works, I just wish it was better. It has ideas, it has the tables, the clock system is good. The fact that consequences thin out my clue deck, so like... I think, honestly, what it needs in there is when like a threat thins out your deck, it's thinning it out by its threat level. And that would make them more of like, I should probably engage with this, because... you have like over 50 cards, or you have 40, like, how to be, 12 minus 52. Yeah, you'd have like 40 cards you need to thin through, and having a level 3 threat to thin it out is kind of scary, so you would have the choice of like, do I deal with this, or do I possibly lose out on big sets? I don't know. That's my thoughts, but in some ways, it does allow you to possibly, because it's not thinning out fast enough, to possibly just get like all 9 suits and then just like get rid of the cards. I'm mixed. Tables are nice. Actually, let me look through the tables again. Because oracles are always a good thing to pick up on, even though like the system might not be the best. We have the fantasy one, which is an interesting thing. What's a fantasy obligation? Tax peasants. Fend off creatures, prepare for war. Okay, what's in the horror? Obligations. Attend a meeting, write a letter. Discover a cure, forget your dreams. Sci-fi. Surprised they don't have cyberpunk, because that's been kind of that was kind of a thing at that time. Tend a biodome. Resist AI influence. That's not sci-fi anymore. Play a VR game. So yeah, that's my thoughts on it. I could see revising this to be better. But my main stick is the same one I have in most of these sort of like... keep rolling the same attribute over and over to do the same thing system. It moves it along, but it doesn't mean anything. And that's always disappointing to me. And I think the random events, while flavorful, would be better served if they actually rolled some sort of table that you have to go with. And like some of the threats, they'd be better if they had like, you have to have this to deal with it. Because, like, having a thug and, like, you have to deal with power would be good. Or, like, you, like, the whole, like, creeping fear thing, you have to deal with it with motivation. Or motive would be useful. Or some other problem where you'd have to use intelligence. Something that, like, is good for some characters but bad for others. Like, I don't even care if it would be, like... an even spread. It's just that the attributes don't matter as much as they should, and they're a key part of the character. Now, the keyword is like, you know, the signature keyword is the main part of the character, because I guess you'd be re-rolling that a lot if you properly did it, which I didn't. I suppose I could have used it on the first break-in, but I'm mixed. I'm probably looking at this with a bit more. I'm excusing its flaws a little bit more than I should, but I think it'd be serviceable if it could be quicker. While simultaneously saying, like, it needs to have more, like, the event stuff matter more, or the threats matter more than just be, like, a keyword and you excuse your attributes or whatever, literal keywords to get rid of them. Probably useful if you want to actually, like, I know I'm rambling on, but these sort of, like, solo games are good if you can just, like, breeze through the procedures to make up a backstory for an actual game. Like, the Necromancer one I've seen for this one guy. He just went through it to make, like, the antagonist for his current campaign. And I could see this, like, to set up, like, some sort of backstory or ongoing thing. Like, this detective investigated this stuff, and you have him as a character and all the junk that went on in, like, your investigation game. And, like, he could be a ally or rival, but this would need to be a little faster to work with that. That's my thoughts. Anyways, thank you for joining. This is a little bit different, because usually the solo games have a more proper play mechanic, and this one's just roll the attribute over and over again, which is which I apologize for, but I could talk my way through it. Anyways, until next time, I'm going to throw this up again. It took me, you know, like a whole 20 minutes to make it. I should do more of these. But yeah, I just wish it had a little bit more meat or was a little bit faster. But everything just seemed to, like, complicate actually playing the game more instead of making it more interesting. Sorry for that, but yeah, it was getting a little bit repetitive, rolling attributes and not, like, really getting anything to chew on. So I was calling it early. I didn't even get to the proper solving of it, though I might have been able to because I think I had enough clues. Anyways, have a good time of day, everyone, and I will see you next time. Enjoy the sound of rain as I go out.